Let's be honest for a moment. We've all watched soap villains come and go. Some are masterminds, some are chaotic agents of destruction, and some just fizzle out. But then there are characters like John Sugden, villains who don't just commit crimes, they weave themselves into the very fabric of their victims' lives, manipulating trust and weaponizing affection. For months, Emmerdale fans have watched in horror as John transformed from a seemingly charming doctor into a calculating monster. Last week, however, the temperature didn't just rise, it exploded. The pressure is mounting, the lies are cracking, and the endgame is hurtling towards us. John may think he's playing chess, but four key players are about to flip the board, and we are absolutely living for the impending fallout. The sheer audacity of John's actions in recent episodes has been breathtaking. He isn't just a killer, he's a psychological puppeteer. His current obsession, securing his control over Aaron Dingle, a man already burdened by so much trauma. The dark symbolism of John encouraging Aaron to start renovations on their cottage is almost too much to bear. Here is Aaron, pouring hope and effort into building a future, completely unaware that his partner is simultaneously holding Mackenzie Boyd captive in a dark, dank bunker. It's a chilling parallel. While Aaron builds a home, John maintains a prison. Every nail Aaron hammers in feels like another nail in Mac's potential coffin, and another layer of deception solidifying around Aaron himself. John's narcissism was on full display during his visit to the bunker. When he spoke to Mac, it wasn't just a threat, it was a confession disguised as a power play. His complaint that he doubted Aaron's feelings reveals the core weakness of every narcissist: profound insecurity. He needs absolute devotion, and because he can't earn it honestly, he manufactures it through fear and manipulation. His ominous promise of a future, and that the end was coming, felt less like a plan and more like a desperate prophecy from a man feeling the walls close in. He's becoming unraveled, and his need to control the narrative is making him sloppy. Speaking of sloppy, let's talk about Mac's resilience. It would be easy for Mac to crumble under such intense psychological torture. Being branded a deserter by his own family while being held captive by a maniac is the stuff of nightmares. Yet when Mac spat back, calling John a hypocrite and a killer, he struck a nerve. He reminded John that beneath the calm exterior there's a real person fighting back. The most electrifying moment, however, was purely accidental. As John left the bunker, startled by Mac's defiance, he unknowingly knocked an item to the floor. We don't know what it is yet. A tool, a piece of metal, a forgotten phone charger, but in the claustrophobic world of the bunker, that single object represents one thing: hope. Mac isn't just waiting for rescue, he's looking for an opportunity. The escape attempt that followed, though quickly thwarted by John's surveillance, proves that Mac's spirit isn't broken. John recaptured him, yes, but the seed of escape has been planted, and John now knows his captive won't go down quietly. While the drama unfolded in the bunker, the seeds of doubt were sprouting all over the village. This brings us to the four horsemen of John's apocalypse: Moira, Tracy, Hattie, and Aaron. These four characters, operating independently, are beginning to form an unintentional dragnet around the villainous doctor. First, there's Moira. Moira Dingle is many things, but knave isn't one of them. She possesses an almost supernatural intuition, especially when it comes to her brother. Charity might be in a self-destructive spiral, lashing out with a bitter good riddance to Mac, but Moira isn't buying the story for a second. She knows Mac. She knows his flaws, his impulsiveness, but she also knows his heart. The idea that he would simply vanish into thin air, leaving no trace and abandoning everyone, just doesn't sit right with her maternal protective instincts. Moira's skepticism is a quiet force, but when she gets a gut feeling, she rarely lets go until the truth surfaces. She's watching, she's thinking, and she's connecting dots that others are too distracted to see. Then we have Tracy Metcalf, a character fueled by righteous grief and burgeoning suspicion. Tracy is walking a path of trauma that looks terrifyingly similar to what Mac's loved ones are experiencing now. She is still reeling from the disappearance and death of her husband, Nate, and struggling with the official narrative that Owen was responsible. When she spoke with Charity about Mac's sudden vanishing act, you could almost see the light bulb go on above her head. The similarities were too stark to ignore: a sudden disappearance, a lack of communication followed by a mysterious, out-of-character message designed to close the case. Tracy realizes that Nate's vanishing act and Mac's disappearance might not be separate incidents, but rather a pattern. She's no longer just a victim of circumstance. She's an investigator with a deeply personal stake in uncovering a potential serial killer hiding in plain sight. Perhaps the most dramatic turn of events came from an unexpected source, Patty Kirk. John, feeling the immense stress of maintaining his web of lies, juggling a captive in the bunker and managing a drugged partner at home, made a critical error. In a moment of supreme arrogance or sheer stupidity, he sought an outlet. He called a mental health helpline, desperate to vent his frustrations. And who answered the call? Patty. The dramatic irony was palpable. John, cloaked in anonymity, began to share far too many personal details about his situation. He spoke of the pressure, the feeling of being trapped, and the actions he was taking to maintain control. For Patty, listening on the other end, the details began to sound chillingly familiar. The pieces clicked into place. Patty now holds the most dangerous piece of information, a direct, albeit accidental, confession. He's bound by confidentiality, but he also knows lives are at stake. This moral quandary pushes Patty from a supporting character into the absolute center of the conflict. Finally, we come full circle back to Aaron. John's plan to control Aaron via the drugged whiskey bottle backfired spectacularly. John intended to sedate Aaron just enough to keep him pliable and confused, but in his stressed state he miscalculated. Aaron consumed far more alcohol than intended, leading to a hazy, disoriented state. But instead of passing out safely in the cottage, a weary Aaron stumbled out into the woods. And where did his dazed wandering lead him? Straight to John's hidden bunker. Think about that moment. Aaron, confused and poisoned by the man he trusts, standing at the threshold of the very place holding the answers to everything. John managed to intercept him and salvage the immediate situation, guiding him away before he could fully process what he saw. But the damage is done. A memory, however fuzzy, has been planted. When the drugs wear off, will Aaron remember the clearing in the woods? Will he recall the strange door or the sounds from within? John may have successfully put out 4 individual fires in one night, recapturing Mac, placating Aaron, misleading Tracy, and unknowingly confessing to Patty, but he's exhausted his resources. He's no longer the predator, he's prey. Moira's doubt, Tracy's investigation, Patty's knowledge, and Aaron's fractured memory have converged. It's no longer a question of if John will be caught, but who will deliver the final blow. The tension is unbearable, and a single misstep will bring his entire house of cards crashing down. We can only hope that these 4 heroes piece together the puzzle before John decides that the end means leaving no witnesses behind. Tune in, because this is one showdown you absolutely cannot miss.